Operations Rising Lion and Roaring Lion pounded Iranian military installations and infrastructure for weeks, hollowing out the nation's ability to defend itself through conventional means. On February 28, 2026, the opening strikes of Roaring Lion killed Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, removing the man who had served as the state's central, defining authority since 1989. This chart shows the estimated $270 billion in immediate physical damage and lost productivity caused by the campaigns, an economic blow that dwarfs Iran's pre-war growth projections. Beyond its borders, the so-called axis of resistance took heavy hits. Operations degraded Hezbollah's command structure in Lebanon and left other regional proxies physically battered and operationally isolated. Khamenei's death, a $250 billion economic hit, and a fractured proxy network have left the state's traditional foundations under immense structural strain. On the streets, citizens are navigating a collapsing domestic infrastructure, facing chronic shortages of clean water and electricity in the wake of the bombardments. These hardships have widened the disconnect between the ruling elite and the public, particularly among a younger generation that has lost confidence in the regime's ability to provide basic stability. Watching this internal pressure build, many Western observers have concluded that the current government is teetering on the edge of a total collapse. This leadership vacuum is currently facilitating a transition into a far more unpredictable and militarized entity, the Third Islamic Republic. Mojtaba Khamenei is the new theoretical leader, though his actual standing is undermined by reports of failing health and a lack of the religious credentials his father possessed. In the absence of a strong clerical leader, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has assumed dominant control over the state's decision-making process, effectively transitioning Iran toward a military authoritarian model. For these generals, the primary lesson of the recent wars is that their conventional military was unable to stop superior U.S. and Israeli forces from striking deep into the Iranian heartland. This failure of traditional defense is forcing the new leadership to completely rewrite their strategy for regime survival. Under this new military-led calculus, the previous concept of being a nuclear threshold state is being abandoned. The IRGC now views having the capacity for a bomb as a liability that invites attack without providing a deterrent. High-level circles in Tehran are now arguing that the only way to guarantee they aren't attacked again is to complete a physical nuclear weapons breakout. Iran holds the technical components for this move, including uranium enriched to 60% and advanced centrifuges. Moving this enrichment process into dispersed clandestine sites could allow the regime to produce weaponized material in several weeks. This shift toward an active weapon turns the survival of the regime into a regional ticking time bomb, drastically changing the risk profile for neighboring powers like Saudi Arabia. To maintain its position until that nuclear deterrent is ready, the military is also working to rebuild its battered missile and air defense arrays. Through a Look East policy, the regime is securing UAV technology from Russia and critical solid-fuel rocket components from China to replace the hardware lost in the war. Despite this trade, Tehran is aware that Moscow and Beijing refused to provide direct military protection during the recent campaigns, identifying them as partners of convenience rather than true security guarantors. The relationship with Russia has specifically shifted toward extreme Iranian dependency, with Tehran now relying on Moscow for the very intelligence and components it once supplied to the Kremlin. Having alienated almost all other global partners, the IRGC is forced to rely on these geopolitical paper tigers to rebuild its industrial military base. While its conventional forces recover, the regime is using the geography of the Strait of Hormuz to project power and exert pressure on the international community. Tehran is currently enforcing a maritime protection fee on commercial ships and conducting selective blockades to punish nations it perceives as hostile. Each day this maritime disruption continues, it bleeds the global energy market and tests the logistical resilience of the U.S. naval presence in the region. The blockade proves that Iran can inflict significant economic pain without needing to win a conventional naval confrontation. The recent military campaigns did not eliminate the Iranian threat, despite the massive physical damage they inflicted on the regime's infrastructure. Today, the region exists in a state of neither war nor peace, where active blockades and persistent military friction have become the new baseline. By violently backing the regime into a corner, its adversaries have accelerated the rise of a hyper-militarized, IRGC-run state, one that now views the possession of a nuclear weapon as its only remaining path to survival.